Hi there. It's been a hot minute since I just did a chat or a talk, and so I thought I'd do that today. So if listening to me chatter on is not your thing, this is not the video for you. Go check out some of my other videos, maybe in the office supplies or the tips and hacks section. But if you do want to chit chat for a bit, buckle up and stay tuned because I'm going to answer some questions about myself. And if you, in the course of this video, or just have a question you'd like me to answer, drop it in the comments below and I will try to answer it in an upcoming video. And because my memory is not the greatest, I'm going to be referencing my handy dandy little paper list. So, first of all, why do I prefer blue pens? Well, this is interesting because when I was younger, I didn't care. In high school, I didn't really care. Middle school, didn't care. But as a young adult, I really started to care to the point of if I had to use a black pen, it was almost punishment. Or I'd just pause everything and find a darn blue pen. So why? Well, one of my first jobs after my husband and I were married was at the Thurston County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. And this is well over 20 years ago now, almost 30 years. And I was hired as the front desk, I don't want to say receptionist because I did more than that, but I was the first person, I was the face of the office that people coming in would be greeted by. And maybe not surprisingly, I was behind bulletproof glass, and I often directed people to which courtrooms they were waiting to be seen in, or their friends or family were being seen in. And needless to say, I was not there very long. It was a pretty high-stress job for me because I would look people's names up, whether it be themselves or somebody they were going to court to support, and I'd see the list of their, how do you put that? Supposed crimes? Alleged crimes, or what they were being charged with. And sometimes it was difficult. There were minor things like, drug possession, things like that, but there were some pretty heavy criminal charges there too. And it just, while I love the people I worked with, the job itself was stressful and it was emotionally taxing. But I remember Ms. Broadus, she was the prosecuting attorney. She sometimes was in court, and if she did not have a blue pen, I had to be prepared dress-wise to go into the court at any, drop of a note, drop of a pen, and bring her a blue pen. And I remember she was just a gorgeous, well-educated, strong, tall black woman. And one day I was in her office. At first I was intimidated by her because she was so well-educated and just had a really powerful presence. But she was always very kind and very nice. And one day she asked me, without even looking up from her paper in her office, she goes, "Shannon, do you know why I only use a blue pen?" And I said, "No, I don't." And I'd always wanted to ask, but I didn't. And she said, "It's because if you use a blue pen, you always know it's original." Now, this is well before the advent of, color copies. But she was right. A black pen, it can be a photocopy. And so from that point on, I really started to embrace and love blue ink. And so now, I wouldn't say I use it for that same purpose, but I just love how it looks on the page against usually white paper for me. White ruled. But that's why I prefer blue pens. That's the story behind it. Next, why start over? This is a little more heavy of a topic. There is a lot in my personal life that I can't control. I really can't affect. I can control how I react to it. But I can't change it. I can try and make things better, but I can never truly make them what I want them to be or how I want them to be. And that's frustrating. If you've been there, you get it. And my personal weakness is I often go back to, oh, if I'd only done this, or if only I'd done that. And the reality of the fact is so much of it is just chance. And things, I have a big belief that things happen for a reason and that things do eventually work out, but that doesn't mean it's comfortable or fun in the meantime. And I just hit a point where I was miserable. My mental health was in question, I'll be honest, And I was becoming somebody that, one, I didn't recognize, and two, even more importantly, someone I didn't want to be. And so I hit this, I don't know if it wasn't a rock bottom moment. I try not to let myself hit rock bottom. You know, if I see red flags and warning flags, I'm going to heed those. And so I realized, okay, something has to happen. Something has to change, and it has to happen fast. I needed to save myself. And I decided to stop focusing so intently on the stuff I couldn't control, on the stuff that I still have to deal with, I still struggle with. A lot of it, if I'm completely honest and transparent, has to do with our youngest son. He's turning 18 in August, and he has a boatload of special needs. And getting him ready to transition into adulthood and all of that jazz has really taken a toll. And it's created tension and stress in my marriage, to be frank, because we have two different opinions on how we want to handle things. So it's just a lot. And I decided that I needed to, if I was ever going to do something that I wanted just because, it needs to be now. No time like the present. I am feeling my age a little bit. And so I decided I'm going to shoot for the moon and create a clean slate for myself, because while starting over for anything can be overwhelming, and it can kind of take your breath away, and you might not know where to start or where to begin or how to do it because you've never done it before, I find it invigorating. It's as exciting as it is overwhelming. It is refreshing as it is stressful. And so that's why I decided to start over. It was a way to claim a portion of my life for just me, doing something that I want to do just because it's fun. And I don't need a reason outside of that other than it's fun and I want to. Why? Because I've earned that right at the age I am. I have been incredibly responsible. I have made reasonably good choices over the course of my adult and young life. And now's the time for me to take a risk, take a chance by investing in something I want to do, a personal passion. And so I guess that leads me to my next question is, what will I be writing next? I'm a writer. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I am a writer through and through. And I've been working from home as a curriculum writer for literally 15 years now. I started off as a teacher, loved teaching, had to give up that career in order to be at home for our son who has developmental delays and special needs. His name is Mark. Let's just get that out of the way. So I had to find a way to make money from home because I was at work and I was constantly getting calls and had fires to put out with Mark, even though he was at school. And with the plethora of appointments and specialists, oh my God, at one point that child had I think 9 different doctors. Ugh. Geneticists, medical geneticists, biochemical geneticist, pediatric neurologist, pediatrician, pediatric neuropsychiatrist. I mean, I could go on. It was a crap ton. So I still needed to bring in income to help our family, but I had to be home. I had to work around the hours that I could work. And oftentimes, especially in the early days, that meant I had to give up sleep. And I had to work during the night while he was asleep so that I could actually get work done uninterrupted. So I've done that for the last 15, 16 years, and I've loved it. But it's almost prescriptive for me. There's room for creativity, yes. I love coming up with object lessons. I love tying them to objectives. The part that I enjoy most is explanatory text, expository. And I realize that it isn't necessarily challenging anymore. But I do feel like I've got a knack at that. I feel good at that. And so I thought, you know what? I've always really been... is jealous the right word? Envious? Envious is a better word. Envious of my husband's creativity, which is ironic because he doesn't say he's creative. But boy, the man can draw. He's trained as a professional animator, even though those are his roots. Now he's not doing that so much. He's doing different kinds of motion graphics. In fact, he's saying he wishes he could get to illustrating more and starting over with that, just rekindling that that skill and that passion. So I went out and bought him a sketchbook. But you know what? You can lead a horse to water, right? But I've always been envious of his creativity. And I thought, well, I'm creative too, just in a different way. And so I thought, well, maybe if I allow myself the opportunity to be creative, maybe if I take away the plan B, maybe if I just make a choice, an intentional decision that this is my plan A, there is no escape plan, this is it, it's going to work or I'm going to die trying. Maybe I got a better shot, going whole hog, going all in. And that's what I've chosen to do over the course of probably the last month. I've been talking about this, doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. If you go to my website, you'll see a sneak peek at what I mean. I'm no longer Hope, Cope, Nope. I am ShannonMedisky.com. Link in the description below. Gives you a peek at what I'm doing. But essentially, what will I be writing next? I'm focusing on middle grade science fiction. Middle grade is for kids not in middle school, but in middle elementary grades, like 3 to all the way up to 5th or 6th grade. So the reason I chose that age group is because that's the age group I loved teaching the most. I have experienced teaching everything from preschool all the way up to 8th grade. And I still have my lifetime substituting certificate, so I can be a substitute teacher to any grade all the way through 12th grade. But the vast majority of my own education and my degrees and my experience has been in those middle grade years. And I just love them. It's usually right before puberty hits. There's an innocence, but they're so curious and capable of really having strong imaginations and asking important questions and using logic. And so I really thought, okay, that's my audience. And I loved telling stories when I was a teacher. In fact, when the kids had to do something that they didn't want to do, I often promised them, okay, if you put your heads down, and by that I mean like get to work, be on task. If you do the stuff you don't want to do now, just get it over with, then we're going to have time at the end of the school day for a quick story. And lo and behold, they'd grab their pencil or their books and work on whatever task they were supposed to be working on. And then I'd often go back to my desk and I'd sit there and think, oh crap, now I got to come up with a story and I've got 30 minutes to do it in. And it was funny because my partner teacher, who was also teaching 4th grade, she would ask, how did you guys get through all that? And I'm like, oh yeah, well, my kids were just really great at getting on task. It was because I knew their currency. They loved my stories, and I loved telling them as much as they loved hearing them. And so I thought, you know what? I'm a good storyteller. I've just never put it on paper. So that's what I'm trying now. And the science fiction comes in. I don't want to give away the concept of the story yet because I'm still working on the first draft. But I love science, and I wanted to write a series of books for middle grade, for those kids, that wove science into it. So there's adventure, and there's some fantasy, but it's grounded in truth, and it's grounded in facts. And so that's where my heart is. So that's what I'm working on next. So, I have 2 more quick questions. What do I like most about myself? I like my ability to not, this is going to sound ironic, to not accept things as they are. And maybe that's a little confusing here. I like to hack things, and my husband is baffled by it. If I have a need, I usually know exactly what I want. And this is true for life too. I know exactly what I want. But if I can't get it, I won't just make do with what I have. No. I will make better. So in other words, if there's a situation that I have to deal with and I have to do it and I really don't want to, or I'm dreading it, well, I will do a positive pairing, I call it. And that means I will do that task alongside something that I really, really like in order to make it more palatable. I hate scrubbing toilets. I don't really mind the cleaning portion. I hate being down there on my knees. And I do it every week because I got two teenage boys and a hubby. So what do? I have certain podcasts that I play on my phone. I leave my phone on the counter and I play it while I'm scrubbing toilets. So I associate scrubbing the toilets with listening. I get to do it. I get to listen to my podcasts. When I have to do IEP meetings for Mark, I loathe those. I hate them. They take a tremendous mental toll on me. So what do? I make sure I have a Starbucks tea with me, or I have my favorite hot tea. So I at least have something comforting, something that I enjoy alongside having to do the tasks that I really don't want to do. Also, if there's something that I really, really want or need physically, like I needed a folder. And I didn't like the standard size folders because why? They are meant and designed to fit 8.5 by 11 sheet paper. I don't use that size paper. I use wide ruled. So what did I do? I bought the darn folders and I lopped off the top of it in order to custom make it fit the paper that I use. My husband laughs at me. I like to consider myself a hack master. Why settle when you can make things better yourself and for yourself? And I'm not going to say that all my hacks and all my strategies work out, but the vast majority of times I feel better because if nothing else, I've taken some amount of control over a situation or a thing that isn't ordinarily in my control, and I can make it better. So that's what I like about myself. I'm not scared to hack something or try something. I'm really trying hard to impart that on our older son, Nate, because I do think it's a skill. Troubleshooting, problem solving, being innovative, and having divergent thinking. So you're not thinking so linearly, like what's expected. No, go off the beaten path. Figure it out for yourself and give it a shot. What is most frustrating about myself? I feel very strongly. I think it can be a positive and a negative, but for me, it's very much a negative. I'm opinionated. I know how I feel. I can tell you how I feel. I have an opinion about everything, whether it's right. But I always have a stance on something, and I know why I feel that way. What does that stand for? Something or fall for everything? But I don't like that about myself because sometimes, and I'm getting better about this, I was way worse when I was younger. I do not like the person I was 20 years ago. But when you are so firm or you have such a strong stance on something, it can be difficult to listen to the other side. And that's one of the things I love about science is it's always in the pursuit of knowledge. In order to be in the pursuit of knowledge or truth, you have to be open to hearing other new things that might be outside of your comfort zone or your own opinions or your own stance. And I can be a little bit obstinate. I can be stubborn. And I don't like that about myself. I want to be much more flexible and open, and I'm learning to be more respectful and truly listen to things with open ears and an open heart. Just because you hear the words doesn't mean you're processing through them. And my husband's really good at that, and that really annoys me. Because I'm like, oh, sometimes, one, he can't make an opinion sometimes. He doesn't have an opinion because he sees all the different facets of a situation so well that it's hard for him to just, pick and stick. I, on the other hand, I pick and stick, and then, that's my hill to die on. I'm trying to get away from that, and I'm trying to encourage my husband to know that his opinions and his thoughts, they are valid too, even though every other side of a situation is valid. He has the right to an opinion, but I have a responsibility to learn to listen and to slow down, and again, have open ears as well as an open heart and an open mind. So there you have it. There are 5 questions and answers about me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer in a future video, please drop the question down in the comment below. And I'm going to continue posting videos once a week. Some of them will be on hacks and tips and tricks. Others will be on office supplies, as well as some videos like this. I'm also considering documenting my writing journey. If that's something you would be interested in watching, leave a comment letting me know that below as well. I don't know if people out there are interested in that or not, or if you'd like me to share that portion of my life and my journey, I'd be happy to do that. Just let me know. Until the next video, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.